It's the Bob Barbara Show, coming your way with a smile today. Down the humorous path with a lark and a laugh. It's the Barbara Show. The the Bob Barbara Show. Welcome to Humorous Adventures with Barbara.
Well, welcome to the Barbara Show. As the saying goes by Ralph Waldo Emerson, it's not the destination, but the journey. And I believe in most cases you have a choice to either laugh or cry, and I choose to laugh. People say to me, why do all these funny things keep happening to you? And I say, if you listen carefully to my stories, they're actually not that funny at the time. So what I'd like you to do is allow me to share with you my humorous adventures. And I thought I'd start out with my accent, because the minute I open my mouth, people say, where are you from? So I'm from Boston, and the stronger the accent is how close you live to Boston, and I grew up 5 minutes north. It's really words that have a letter A before the letter R. For example, car, park, Harvard, yard. I say AR like AH. Now, I was student teaching these 3rd and 4th graders in Weston, Massachusetts. And in Weston, Massachusetts, they do not have a Boston accent. The spelling word happened to be car. And the kids said, oh, what's that? And I knew very well they knew what that word was. So I said, it's another word for automobile, and if you don't get it right, it's not my problem. So anyway, one college break, my friends and I were taking turns driving to Florida, and we were hungry. So I pulled up to a fast food speaker, and I put my order in for cheeseburgers, Cokes, and I kept repeating it because the woman said, I can't understand you. I can't understand you. You'll just have to drive up to the window so I can read your lips. So now, since I'm away at school and the last one to leave the nest, my parents wanted to retire to a warmer climate. If you're from New England, you go to Florida. So my parents went to Florida, and it was really humid for my father. So I kept saying, go to California, go to California. So they go to California, and they told me that, wow, we found a really nice place to live called La Jolla. So I said, okay. So when I graduated, I went to check out La Jolla. And hey, I thought La Jolla was pretty fun, pretty nice. I think I'll get my own apartment here. And as it turned out, all I could afford really was a very small studio apartment. And I had a queen-size waterbed. So when my father came to see my place, all he saw was bed. And he's like, I don't know if I like this. Anyway, one thing I do love is pizza. So I get on the phone, and I want to order a pizza. So they said, what's your name? I said, Barbara. They said, what? I said, Barbara. They said, Bob? I said, forget it. Cindy, I'll be there. Now, I went to a Mexican restaurant, and I looked at the menu, and I said, what are these things? Japarinos. And they said, it's not japarinos, it's jalapenos. Oh, well, who knew? Now, a guy asked me one time if I played tennis. I said, well, I'm not that good, but I have great effort. And his face did some kind of contortion. So I'm used to this. And I said to him, okay, I know what I said. It doesn't deserve a face contortion. So what do you think I just said to you? And he thought I said, well, I'm really not that good, but I have a great outfit. That would be the last thing I would ever say. Now, one time I was sitting on a chair talking to my friend, and I was feeling a little itchy. And I said, I think I'm allergic to the chair. And he said, what are you talking about? How could you be allergic to the chair? And what I was talking about was my detergent, the chair detergent. So he heard CHAIR. I was saying CHEER for the detergent. Now, another time, I was looking for a book on poker because Texas Hold'em was really popular. I had my own set to share. I was watching it on TV with my friends. I was going on all these tournaments. So I went to the bookstore to get a book on poker so I could really be more effective and learn more. And I asked the man working at the store, I said, do you have a book on poker? So he's looking, and I'm following him, and he's looking. And I can't believe it's taking so long because I'm sure there's a big game section at the bookstore. And then he finally gives me the book, and it says, Learn About Polka, like the dance, Polka. And I'm like, no, that's not what I was looking for, but that's what he heard. Now, I will say the same thing for different words, like car keys and the pants, khakis. Khakis? Khakis. Now, I heard, and I believe this is true, that you form most of your vocabulary by the age of 9. And I'll give you an example. One of my best friend's fathers, growing up in Boston, his name was Carl, C-A-R-L. When I think of her father, I say Carl. Now, I'm in California. There's a hamburger place that didn't exist on the East Coast. And when I refer to Carl's Jr., I say it, Carl's Jr. So it's not like I can't say it, but when I think of her father, I say Carl. When I think of the hamburger place, I say Carl. Now, there's a lot of regional terminology that in Boston, if you want a coffee with milk and sugar, you say you want a regular. Or if you want to get a long sandwich, we call it a sub sandwich. But I know in different areas you could call it a grinder or a hoagie. And then some people call a sofa or a couch. What do you call it? Now, one time I was student teaching in a business school, and all the students were working, and I'm compiling papers, and I needed something to put the papers together. So I thought maybe one of the students could help me. And I yell out, does anybody have an elastic? And they all looked at me like, what did I say? And I'm thinking, all I asked for was an elastic to put my papers together. Well, at least in that area of California, when I yelled out, does anybody need an elastic? I was asking for a rubber band. But I don't call it a rubber band, I call it an elastic. What they thought I was asking and yelling out in a classroom is, does anybody have a condom? I mean, I would never ask that, and I don't understand, but that's what they heard. Now, I used to work for a company in England, and again, they're speaking English and I'm speaking English, but we have different words for the same thing, like a lift is the elevator, the queue is where you stand in line, the boot is a trunk. So one night, I was having dinner with a bunch of the people from the UK, and this one particular guy, Mike, always liked to play jokes. So I'm sitting beside him at dinner, and he turned to me and he said, are you wearing suspenders? Now, clearly, I had a very nice blouse and skirt. So I'm wondering, why is he asking me if I'm wearing suspenders? Clearly, I'm not. So my response was, well, I'm not wearing suspenders, but that's something Larry King wears, like the talk show. That was the only thing I could think of. And by making that response, that's what Larry King wears. Now he's perplexed. Now he doesn't understand. Well, the reason why he was asking me if I was wearing suspenders as a joke is a suspender in England is a garter. So in other words, he was just being silly and asking me if I was wearing garters under my skirt. But my response was, well, I don't wear garters, but Larry King does, and that's why he was confused. So, again, even though we're speaking English, it's a little different, and you just have to laugh about it. Now, I once did a presentation for a large group of people, and I had used the word groovy. Now, that really has nothing to do with an accent per se, but I finished the presentation, and a young man who had put the thing together for me, when I came off stage, he said, "Oh, great job. Your presentation was really great." He goes, "But you know what? I just have to tell you, the word groovy has gone out of style for quite a long time." Well, I knew his intention, and his intention was, just to clue me in that I probably shouldn't want to use the word groovy anymore because I'm dating myself. But I say these words just to be silly, and it took all I could not to burst out laughing. And what I said to him was, "Oh, thank you so much, because I have been embarrassing myself for so long saying that word. So thank you. You really helped me." And you know what? I think I made his day, and I got an inside laugh for myself. So anyway, I just wanted to share my first story of the humorous adventures of Barbara. Thank you for joining me.
It's the Barbara Show. It's the Barbara Show. Coming your way with a smile today. Down the humorous path with a lark and a laugh. It's the Barbara Show. The Barbara